Hi, good evening, everyone. Please can you confirm that you can hear me? Good evening. Hi, good evening, guys. I can't see. Okay, can't see. Oh, okay. Now I can see. Okay, now I can see the comments. All right, thank you very much, guys, and good evening. Thanks for having me. I apologize for the slight delay. I couldn't see comments, so I thought I was alone here. Okay, yes, so I think I can start, right? So today, basically, I'll just start by introducing myself, tell you briefly about TOC, the purpose of this session, then we'll move to the main reason why we're here, which is the question and answer session for the McKinsey YLP program. So my name is Sean Fumi, and I am a young professional, just like everyone on this call. I currently work as a business consultant with a construction firm, and I am an ex-McKinsey. So I'm glad to be here today to talk about my journey and experience with McKinsey YLP program. Before I proceed, like I said, I would like to just briefly introduce you to TOC. Yes, I would like to state that I am also a proud volunteer for the our community, and TOC is an organization dedicated to empowering the African youth in their personal career and financial development. And at TOC, we are focused on providing valuable resources, mentorship, opportunities to help young professionals achieve their full potential, right? And I think we can now move into the main session. So before I go on, I'm just going to introduce you to the McKinsey YLP program. So I think I've been seeing a lot of comments around the McKinsey YLP program is a 1 year program, right? So but I would like to state that I think from the time that I joined from my set, the program has changed from being a year program to 2 years program. So that's the first thing I want you to know, that McKinsey is now, the YLP program is now a 2 years program, after which you will become a BA, right? Then, I mean, you continue to progress your career, right? So that's basically about the program. So just see the YLP program as your normal entry level program. For example, you see Big Fours do graduate training and stuff like that. So McKinsey YLP is equivalent to all these graduate trainees in the other industries, right? And if you look at maybe another consulting firm like BCG, you notice that BCG doesn't have a program called YLP, or directly, I mean, the same name, but then it's called business analyst program. So McKinsey YLP is also like equivalent to BCG business analyst program. So that's that about the program. I think now we can go into, answering the questions. I'll try as much as possible to answer all of the questions that have been sent in, and we'll try to take some more questions if the time permits us. So I just hope that this session is going to give you a clear understanding of whether the YLP program is the right fit for your career, and importantly, how you can prepare for it and get into the program. Um, yes, so I think we can start with the questions. Okay. Hi guys. I'm seeing just messages from TOC. Please let me know if you can hear me clearly at any point. If you cannot hear me, please let me know so that I can. I'm sure that we are together. Okay. The first question says, what strategies should one follow to ensure a right career path, especially in consulting? Okay, very good question. Um, Not specifically for only consulting, but I'm going to answer this question in the consulting industry, right? But then it's almost similar regardless of the career path you are like pursuing. So I'm going to say three strategies really. I mean, from my experience, three strategies. Number one, to really build a successful career in consulting, you have to be a problem solver. Number two, you should have the ability to build strong relationships. And number three, you should really cultivate like a resilience, mindset. And I'm going to take these three things one after the other, right? So the first one I mentioned is being a problem solver, right? So being a problem solver entails you understanding clearly what problem you want to solve, right? And creating a sustainable solution. So I'm going to say, let's consider this scenario. So maybe during conversations with your friend, and let's say your friend consistently like raises their voice at you, but you always tell them, "Oh, I don't like you raising your voice at me." Then your friend receives momentarily, but then they continue to repeat the same things in subsequent interactions. Why is that? So the reason they continue to repeat that same thing is because the main reason why they raise their voice has not been addressed, right? It's the same application to businesses wherever you find yourself. So being a problem solver entails you not like solving the general terms in consulting. You hear things like don't solve the consequences, you have to solve the main problem, like solving the root cause of the problem. And it's not as difficult as a lot of people make it seem, or it's not as difficult as you might think, right? It's just you making sure that you ask the right questions, and being open-minded, right, to solve whatever problem it is. And if you want to be in consulting, right, especially when you are a career starter, it's not something that you start developing. I mean, these skills are not things that you start developing on the job. They're already things that you should have been developing even before you get into consulting. It's something that your friends would have noticed in your day-to-day interaction, and they would have even been telling you that, oh, I like the way you approach problems, and I like the way you prefer solutions. So it's like a lifestyle that you have already noticed in yourself. So being a problem solver is one good skill that you really want to build if you want to like build a career path in consulting, right? And secondly is your ability to build strong relationships. And strong relationships, this one cannot be overemphasized, right? I'm sure it's not in consulting alone, but in consulting, it is very important because you are going to be working with multiple clients at different times, right? So maybe you're on a study for 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, and you're leaving the study, moving to another study. So you have to be quick at, building relationships at the first, meeting with clients or meeting with your colleague. You have to let them know that you are a type of person everybody wants to work with, right? So that's it. And lastly, like I said, before I move to the last one, also building relationship is very important in consulting, not only to the external parties and also to the people you'll be working with, especially because you'll be needing to have more senior colleagues to be your mentors, to be your sponsors in the firm, most importantly. So your ability to communicate clearly, to build strong relationship with them is going to help you thrive in consulting. And the final one I mentioned is resilience. To be very honest, consulting can be very demanding, right? Because the industry is very dynamic with rapid, changing clients, changing market conditions. The expectations are very, very high. So you have to be the kind of person that is able to, adapt quickly to changes and challenges. And I would also want to say to you, in all honesty, that if you want to do consulting, you shouldn't have the 9 to 5 mentality just because it's very demanding, and there are times that you might want to work beyond beyond your 9 to 5, right? So I mean, these are things that you would face, maybe not all the time, but most of the time as consultants you work very long hours, so you have to cultivate that ability to like keep going regardless of the challenges that you're facing. I hope I was able to answer that question. Can we move to the next question? Okay. The next question: how impactful is the McKinsey YLP program for career advancement, particularly for experienced professionals? Okay. All right. I think I would split this into two. For the experienced professionals, right? I would say that the YLP program is highly impactful, right? Because regardless of your background, regardless of where you're coming from, at McKinsey, there is a popular saying that you always have to learn the McKinsey way of doing things, right? Because it's really different. Even if you have 5 years of experience in the industry, you're coming to McKinsey, you just figure out yourself that there are still a lot of things to learn, right? So the impact is very great, right? So I would say that um, it's not limited to entry level guys. So the impact is across board, right? But then, I mean, because you have to learn like deeper way of doing things, learn your approach to solving complex challenges and things like that. But I must say that if you already have like 2 3 years of industry experience post NYSC, you should consider applying for BA, right? So if you already have like 2 3 years of experience after your NYC, I don't think you should apply for the YLP program. I'm not sure you would be disqualified, but at the same time, considering you've done some things before that time, I think you should apply for the BA instead. Now, speaking of the impact, right? So I mean, you have the opportunity to like drive your own work stream, and again, importantly, you won't be on the client side, right? And somebody would say, Sean Fumi is a YLP fellow, so don't expect so much from her. That's not the way it is. So if you're there, the client is seeing you as a consultant. When you're at the client side, there is no hierarchy. I mean, except for maybe the engagement manager that everybody knows is the manager, but every other person, you are all consultants, right? And the expectations are very high. So I would say that for your career, it's very impactful because you are going to take so much ownership, right, to drive your work stream, to make decisions on your own. So I think it's really impactful, and yeah, you enjoyed the program. We can move to the next question if that's fine. Okay, what was my experience as a YLP fellow? Okay, so as a YLP fellow, my experience really, I'll say number one, and the first one is not unique to just YLP fellows, is to every consultant at McKinsey, right? So when I joined McKinsey, I participated in training sessions, and the training sessions are very very intense, right? So for like the first 1 to 2 months you are basically undergoing trainings, right? And the trainings were heavily focused on problem solving, which I found you know incredibly valuable, right? Even beyond McKinsey, I still like use some of the things that I've learned at McKinsey in my, current job, in my day-to-day life. So it's that very valuable. And what also stood out to me was the fact that despite being a YLP fellow, I was treated as an integral part of the team. So, I mentioned earlier that nobody sees you as a YLP fellow. You are the one, and maybe the people there that know that you are a YLP fellow, but on the client side, the way you approach things is not going to look like you're a YLP fellow, right? So because I was involved in client meetings, I even had the opportunity to lead presentations related to my work stream. So you are like I said, the ownership is there. You are going to lead your presentation, and also I did like about 3 4 engagements within 1 year of working as a YLP at McKinsey. And they were not in the same industries. For example, I did oil and gas, I did fintech, I did CPG. So it's that diverse. So you are going to do different things within very short duration of time. So it really helps you to like, wrap up things quickly. Your problem solving skill is like top notch, and because you have limited time, you have to leave a study, go on another study, because you have to do many engagements. I mean, there are a lot of clients to serve, so you have limited time to do a lot of things. So you are easily integrated into the system, and you are going to be doing all these things within a short period of time. So it means you have to wrap up quickly. And yes, like I said, it's very my experience was really great. And also I would like to add one more thing, that for example, if you like to travel, it's something that you would also enjoy, because while I was there, I had to travel for engagements. Although I personally don't really like traveling, especially too frequent travelings, but if you're the kind of person that really enjoy traveling, so it's something that you would really like. um okay, I think the next question is, what sets me apart as a YLP fellow? What value did I gain from the program that differentiates me after the program, and how it shaped my career? Okay, yes. So I think to answer this one, I would say that wherever I go, I mean, after the program, I would say that I might be perceived as a workaholic, and in reality is just simply being diligent, being committed to my work, right? So I believe that the value you bring to the table, right, after the program just speaks for itself, right? Also, I believe that McKinsey name opens like more doors, because people generally just believe that for you to have worked in McKinsey, you are good, right? So I think that's one thing that really sets you apart. There are sometimes that you see some job openings and they put things like they want maybe a corporate strategy person, and they'll give preference to somebody that has worked in MBB, or somebody that has worked in Big Four and things like that. And it's not because these people just prefer these people because of the company name, but because I think the people that have worked in these companies have proven to be very good, to be well trained, and they just believe that if they have you on their team, right, everything would go well. So I would say number one, the McKinsey name kind of gives you leverage, because most people want to invite you for interviews because they believe that you know what you're doing, like you know your onions. I think that's one thing. And another thing is that, like I said, personally, if I find myself in anything today, everybody just see you that you're different, because the way you approach work, the speed of things, and I mean, because you have already cultivated the habit from you know a place where they value outputs, right? So you are very output minded, and wherever you want to work, you are very, I mean, once you have not gotten your results, you don't want to stop. So people tend to like say, oh, this person likes work, but then it's not like that. So that's like one of the advantage that McKinsey give you. It's kind of set you apart, right, wherever you find yourself. um Another question here. Okay. Is the YLP program just training for young professionals, or is it a paid role, more like an internship? Yes, like I said earlier, YLP is a paid role. Yes, it's a full-time paid role. Yes, maybe like an internship, because like I said, just consider or think about doing BA in BCG, or think about doing graduate training in the likes of PwC, EY, Deloitte, and the likes. Yes. So it is not just a training, because I think some people misinterpret YLP for the forward program, right? Which is like a training for everybody. But the YLP program is like a full-time employment. Yes. Yes. Of course, yes, it's an internship because after the YLP program, you then, you become a business analyst, which is a more, long term career. Okay. What what are the stages involved in the McKinsey YLP recruitment process, and how can one be prepared for them, especially the case interview and the sub game? Okay, so I think yeah, there are three stages to the interview. The Sorry, 1 second. Oh, okay, sorry, apologies. So the stages involved, like I said, there are three stages involved. So the first stage that I think most people on this call, some people on this call, they've already gone through the first stage, which is the McKinsey game solve. After the game test, there are two stages of interview. As at the time that I did my interview, you are going to do the PEI, which is the personal experience interview. Upon passing the personal experience interview, you then do the case interview. The case interview, you are going to do two different case interviews. I mean, what I did during my set, but I heard that there is already a bit of modification to it now. So after your game test, you are doing another two stages of interview, which is still three stages, but different in the sense that this one now requires you to do PEI and case interview together in one. Then final, upon passing that one, you do another PEI and case interview again. I hope that answers this question. And on the other question on how to prepare for the interview, especially the case interview and the soft game. I don't know if I put in the chat, people can see me. So for the soft game, um I mean, the soft game, the case interview, these things are actually something that will take entire session, right? So, and for the soft game, I'm going to be sending you some YouTube links that you can watch. They are very insightful. So by the time you watch a couple of the YouTube videos, I mean, the one I've seen that are very useful, so you can then develop an approach to solving the game test. And even if you check the McKinsey website, they are going to tell you that you do not need to prepare for the game test before you pass it. While I kind of agree, because even during my set, I didn't really prepare for the game test, right? But then I think now, because I think it's really a lot of competition, so you really want to have a structured approach to solving your game test before that day, so that by the time you are starting the test, you already know the approach to take. For example, the ecosystem game, you already know, oh, the first thing I want to do is to prioritize, oh, what are the factors I want to consider in putting my species together and things like that. So I think I'm going to be sending the YouTube links. I will do that in the chat now, so you can just watch some YouTube videos. And in watching the YouTube videos, there are different approaches, so you need to know the one that works best for you, right? And for the case, oh, the question has disappeared. I think there's another one that asks about the case interview. I am going to say that for case interview, really, between now and the time that you'll be doing your case interview, you have a lot of time. And I'll just put it out there that there is a lot of mistake. There's this one mistake that a lot of people make, which is the mistake of solving many cases, right? I'm not saying that you shouldn't solve many cases, but then trust me, it's not by the number of cases that you solve, but it is by your, how should I call it now? I would say your problem solving mindset, your entrepreneurship spirit, right? Because there are people that solve hundred of cases and they cannot pass the case interview, because trust me, you will get some case interview questions and in your head you are thinking, is this a public sector? Is this a market entry? What kind of case is this? You don't want to meet yourself in that kind of scenario. So you really want to be, open-minded. You really want to be solution oriented and be able to like solve whatever question that they give you. So I mean, case interview is like a long, a how should I put it? It's like a course on its own. So I wish everybody best of luck. If you pass through the game test and you want to do your case interview, you can send messages to TOC on maybe LinkedIn, Instagram, or any of our social media platforms. If we see a lot of requests, if there is time, I can volunteer to do like one session case interview prep, because I can't really answer all of the question about case interview on this call because of our time. Okay. Okay. This one, what skills do I need to be selected for the YLP program and how can I build them? Very good question. Okay, so to answer this question, what skills do you need to be selected for the YLP program and how can you build them? So I would say that the skills that you need to be selected for the YLP program are basically, like I said, I've mentioned them before on the first question where I was talking about problem solving skills and how you can build this is number one. I would say that, and I think an advice I give to young people that are going into consulting, because a lot of people think around the case interview. Some people don't even think that, I mean, especially before they change the approach, right? You have to pass some tests before you even get to the final round, which is the case interview. So some people don't really think about what do I need to do to even make it to the case interview. For example, the fit interview. So the fit interview is a lot about your story, your past experience. And I tell people that if you don't have this experience, trust me, you can't build this experience in 1, 2, 3 months. These are things that you should have been building from your, undergraduate levels. If you just graduated and you still have about 6 months to doing your interviews, it is a very good time for you to start, building the experience. But if you wait till the interview time and you are now start thinking of drafting or cooking up a story that doesn't exist, it's not going to work, right? Because during the interview, the interviewers are very intelligent, and yes, you are going to be using the star approach to answer your questions. But trust me, before you land on something, I mean, my experience and a lot of people that have done the interview, they would interrupt you. They are going to do a lot of drillings, and it has to be as real as possible. Imagine you having a conversation around just two questions for about 30 to 45 minutes. You'll be imagining, I mean, you should know that it's beyond you telling them, oh, this is the situation. I found myself in a position where I have to do this, do that. I mean, it's beyond that, because they're going to ask you a lot of questions around how did you do this, right? Oh, in this situation, they can say, what did you do differently? And you must have thought of all these things before. And I would also say that be very sure that your stories, your examples are very authentic, because if they're authentic, no matter how they drill you, you'll be able to, I mean, not drill, they want to question you to know what exactly happened, how exactly you went about solving the problems that you claim to solve. Do you get? So don't wait till the interview time. Start developing the skills now, right? So it could be joining joining some societies in school, volunteering as much as possible, participating in events, right? So you don't want to be a consultant and you are this. I mean, I think that was the mistake I made in school, because it took me a lot of time before I started building relationships, started participating in events. And if I had the opportunity of, I mean, hearing all these things before I started my career, I think it would have been very much more useful for me, right? So, because you need to have started building this, and you need to be very comfortable speaking, because you'll be speaking with partners. Sometimes you are very, scared, but then they like you to be very, confident, because imagine you being in the front of CEO of one very big multinational company and you are presenting. Do you get? So if you're the kind of person that can't even defend yourself, or that can't even convince your interviewer, so how do you want to, speak to clients and present in front of, your clients? So those are the skills that you need to build. I would say that at this time, I think what I recommend is make sure that you are very, up to date about what is happening in your economy. Just try, for example, read business day news, check nairametrics, check um what are they called, I mean, check all these business news, right? Know what is happening, and don't just read what is happening. You have to know what is driving these basic things. For example, knowing macroeconomic indicators, knowing what is driving I mean, this each of these macroeconomic indicators, because those are the things that would help you to improve your critical thinking, and before you know it, you'll get comfortable solving whatever problem comes your way. Okay. What should I include in my CV and cover letter during the application process? Okay, good question. For your CV, I mean, this is not just specific to the McKinsey application, but there is I believe that maybe TOC can still do like sending a CV template to you. So usually your CV should look like I mean, the first part, your basic information, your name, your email address, your phone number. I mean, your CV should look as professional as possible. So you should have your education. Your education should include like your CGPA if you have a very good grade. If not so great, but okay, you can just put your class of degree, then the relevant skills that you acquired while in school, the relevant course of study, then you move to your experience. And it's very important that you include your leadership experience, because at McKinsey, it's not just your art skills, like maybe you can build model, you can value companies. I mean, it's really way big. I mean, you can see people that can do all of these things and they still don't get in, because McKinsey is really big on your soft skills, right? Your leadership skills, your problem solving skills, how you can, interact with people, how you can undo communication, right? So are you this kind of person that, because it's one of the questions you're also going to see in your, fit interview, they would ask you question around how you are able to resolve maybe conflicts with colleagues. So those kind of skills are things you want to highlight in your CV. So how you are able to, handle situations, and in your CV, also make sure, very important, make sure that you also follow the star approach in your CV. You don't need to be well detailed, but let your CV show key results and the action point. Use active, I mean, verbs. I mean, things like I spearheaded, I facilitated. I mean, really good words that shows that you did some things that are very, I mean, the active verbs, right, in your CVs. And about cover letters, right? So your cover letter is really important. So I would say for your cover letter, you should have, I mean, the normal cover letter. I don't know, in case you don't know how to like draft a cover letter, your cover letter should be something around your address, the normal address on the cover letter. Then you want to start by introduction, right? Introduction, it has to be very compelling. And also you want to move to the key results, things that you have done that would make them give you that role, things that set you apart from every other person. You have to be, and you have to, in drafting your key results, you have to focus on problem solving, focus on leadership, focus on drive, right? So in driving those things, so look at your experience that has all of these things in them, and know how to draft it to show problem solving, right? So that's the kind of thing you might want to consider. And also, very important, you have to show motivation. Why are you applying to McKinsey? For example, some people will just do, I mean, they'll write a motivation on, oh, why I want to be in consulting and why I want to apply to McKinsey, but then they are not really, I don't know, it doesn't show that you have done your assignment, right? So you have to show them that you've made your findings, you've made your research. For example, if you're on this call and maybe you've learned one or two things on this call, right? It could be something like, it can be a motivation for you, because you can put it in your cover letter, right? That, oh, you attended a session and you listen to an SYLP fellow, maybe some of the things that you have gained from this session are like motivations for you, and that's why you're applying. So those are the kind of things that you can say. And you can also say things like maybe you had a one-on-one session with a current consultant or an ex-McKinsey consultant or things like that. So those are the things that you want to put there, because these things just make people believe. Because I, as a person, i'm going to like um I'm going to like pick somebody that shows me that they have done their assignments over somebody that is just generic, right? Because hundred thousands of people might put the same thing that you have put. So what sets you apart is the fact that you've heard from somebody that has worked there or that currently works there, and you like what their experience look like, and you also want to work there. So yeah, I think the next question says, thank you, Sean. When does the YLP application open? What are the requirements, and what are the chances of being a BA from the YLP? Okay, very good question. So the YLP program application is currently open, and I think it's closing tomorrow, right? So if you want to apply, no, I think it's closing on, sorry, not tomorrow, on Friday. So I think if you want to apply, this is a good time. You can still apply, right? Because for me, like I for me, I think I applied on the last day, right? And yes, I got in. So it's not about the time that you apply, it's about the quality of your application and how you are able to perform in the interview. So I'm not saying that you should apply late, but you are joining, if you are joining this call now and you have not applied, you're already applying late. So you can still apply. Yes. So what are the requirements and what are the chances of, so for the requirements, there's no requirements, right? I think I saw a question around what course of study, I mean, does your course matter? I mean, at McKinsey, your course of study, it does not matter, right? So there is no really requirement. I think the only requirement is that you have a degree, or maybe not necessarily a degree, but you went to the uni and you are either serving or you are done with your NYSC. Because for people that are serving in Lagos, yes, you can apply, you can do your YLP program as you're serving in Lagos. Emphasis on Lagos, because you have to be serving in Lagos because you're applying to McKinsey Lagos office. So if you are serving in another state in Nigeria, I don't think, even if you get the offer, I don't think you're going to be accepted into the program. Because, and I don't know if you can defer. I don't think you can defer, except you have to reapply again. So you have to be in Lagos to be eligible if you are serving. But you can also apply if you are done with your NYSC. Yes, and yes, if you're done with your NYSC, you can also apply. So the requirements is just, I think you have to either be serving or done with your NYSC. So I think I saw a question also around if you are currently serving or if you are yet to start your NYC, can you apply? For example, there are a lot of people that just finished their BSc. You have not started serving, but then before the whole interview process finishes, you would have started your NYC. So I would say encourage that you apply, right? Because at the time that I put in my application, even at the time that I got the offer, I had not started my NYC. So I was doing my NYC in McKinsey as I was serving. I hope that I answered that question. And the last one, sorry, the chances of being a BA, that last question, the chances of being a BA after the YLP program. Yes, I would say that the chances of being a BA is very high. Yes, so because it's just like every other level at McKinsey. So I think it's the same in every standard organization where, you know, on yearly basis there is like review and everybody is graded. So the chances of being a BA, other things being equal, you should become a BA after the YLP program. Do you understand? So I saw a question around, is the BA offer real? Is it legit? Yes, I'm going to say that the BA offer is real and very legit. Because, for example, during my time, we were 4 YLPs, and I think I am the only one that is no longer in McKinsey. Every other person are in McKinsey, either still YLP or now a BA. Do you get? So, like I said, it's now 2 years program and no longer 1 year. How long does it typically take to hear back from the recruiters after submitting your application? Um, okay, for this question, I think, okay, after submitting your application, right? I think you hear from them. I mean, it might take some days, right? It might take some days before you get maybe the interview invite or the invite for the game test. Just because, for example, the application is closing on Friday, right? I think they send the game test invite in batches. So there are some people that have applied and they've already done their game test. Why there are some people that have applied, people that applied, maybe they didn't apply um maybe within the first second week, they are still going to get the invite for the game test. Of course, I think most people get the invite to the game test, and provided that your CV is good and well crafted. So you will get the invite to the game test, maybe I would say some weeks after. But then when you start the interview stage, so after the game test, I think it might take some time to get the interview invite if you pass the game test, right? So, but they will definitely communicate to you in, I think, about few weeks. But the moment you start the interview after the game test, you are going to get feedback within 24 hours. Is that fast? So, for example, I mentioned to you that the interview is in 2 stages. So you do your first interview today, right? By tomorrow or before the end of today, you already know if you pass and you proceed to the next. Do you get? And you proceed to the next phase of the interview. And if you do proceed to the next phase of the interview, you are also going to get enough time. Like, they're going to give you more time to prepare. And even McKinsey, during my time, they gave us coach, right? So you are going to do like case coaching for, I think, 4 to 6 weeks, where they also coach you on case interviews. So you have enough time to prepare, right? But then after your interview, you get feedback within, I think, 24 to 24 hours, like I said, maybe at most 48 hours. um did you have prior experience that must have given you an edge before you got in? Maybe the course you read or past work experience. Okay, thank you very much for this question. Yes, I'm going to say yes. So for me, I had prior work experience, right? So before I joined, because the the fit interview is going to definitely ask you about your experience, and if you have not done anything, there's nothing to talk about. But then it doesn't necessarily have to be corporate work experience, like working for a company. So it could be, I mean, it's very good if you've done some internships before, but if you have not really done internship before and you're a graduate applying, so you had some maybe leadership experience, maybe in your school, you did a program and you were a volunteer and you think you did exceptional, so you can craft a story around that. And I would also say that sometimes you might also want to like volunteer a lot, because all these voluntary activities, they also give you experience that you can leverage on, provided that during your time as a volunteer you really maximize the opportunity and you have good experience to talk about. So because for me, I would say that, for example, my fit experience were around I think one of my internship experience and my volunteer for the hybrid, global case study challenge. I spoke about how I coordinated the global case study challenge, the things I did differently. Do you get? So what gave me an edge, really, I would say that what gave me an edge was my resilience and the fact that wherever I find myself personally, I try as much as possible to give my best. So you should be that kind of person. Try to give your best because people should be able to speak about you. Your work should be able to speak for you, right? Because for example, and some of this experience that you gain that you might not necessarily count might be one of the things that would help you even in your case interview. For example, in my case interview, I had the partner was asking me questions. I mean, my case was around a bank wanting to start a fintech arm and questions around that, and I was a campus ambassador for Fund All, right? And during my time as a campus ambassador, there is this thing they used to do. Fundal does this campus ambassador end of the year award thing that they tell you to talk about something or to give advice to the company, right? So at that time, I took the project personal. Like I took it as a real project, right? I did surveys, I did primary research, like calling people that use Fundal, even calling people that do not use Fundal to know, ask them questions. I mean, because of the level of um research I put into place, right, in solving that in doing that contest, that challenge then, right, I would say that it really helped me because my my final interview was in fintech. Fondo is a fintech. And they were asking me a lot of questions around people's approach, what people think about the fintech industry. And trust me, I was even telling the interviewer about my experience, right, with that project. So it helps you because if you're telling me you're solving a question and you're telling me example of, oh, while I was doing this project as a campus ambassador for Fondo, I spoke with about 10 people, and from the 10 people that I spoke with, I discovered that 6 of them still have like a negative feeling about investing in fintech and stuff like that. I mean, you just sound different from every other people that are applying, right? So I'll say that all of this experience, you may not really count it. I mean, we never can tell what is going to, give you that edge when you find yourself in that interview because these partners and managers, they like people that can drive conversations, and they like it when you can really talk about your experience and how it applies to what you're currently doing. I hope that I answered that question correctly. Okay. What kind of clients do you work with in management consulting firm? Sorry, I don't know what is CAB. What does that mean? If you can help me. Um, I don't know what CAB means, but when
Hi everyone. I guess Fumi had a network issue there, and she'll be back shortly. Um, Thank you. All right. Unfortunately, we are having network issues from our guests for today's session. But as our moderator has mentioned on the group chats, okay, I think Sharon is coming on board already. I can see her. Okay, Sharon is back. I was about to say we are going to answer your questions via our social media platform, but I'll hand it over back to Sharon now.
Hi, can everyone hear me? Um, my sincere apologies. I don't know. It was my internet, so my network got disconnected. Okay, thank you. So I think that question before I dropped off was on the kind of projects that we work on, and the kind of projects that we work on. What? Okay, yes. Okay, yes, sure. Okay, yeah, sure. So the kind of projects that we work on are really, so you can work on, think of public sector. I mean, McKinsey do public sector cases. They do when it comes to industries and the type of projects. So industries, we can say public sector. I mean, any industry really, oil and gas, CPG, fashion, as many industries as you can think of. And typical example of a problem, for example, sometimes you do transformation. Transformation is like, oh, this company, they want to change their focus area. They want to change entirely to maybe doing something bigger than what they currently do. They set up a transformation team and they have McKinsey consultants and some group of people in their company. So transformation is there, and I would also say organizational structure is there, right? So for example, I did a study whereby after like a merger and acquisition deal, they want the McKinsey team to like help the company set up a new organizational structure, redefine the company's purpose, what should our focus be? I mean, stuff like that. And sometimes your typical profitability, company is having profitability issue, okay, help us solve it, those kind of questions. And also market entry, yes. So while I was there, I did some things around, market entry, expansion, yes. So those are the kind of things that you do. So basically, what you'll be doing in your case interview, they are like a typical example of what you'll be doing when you get into the program. Just that when you get into the program, is more complex because case interview is just like 1 hour, and you can't solve a whole problem in 1 hour, like practically. So it's almost the same. So, and somebody asked about policy something. I can't really see that. So I think I saw the question around if you want to be a food. Can you resend the question? Maybe I can't see the question again. But I think I saw the question somewhere saying that if you're passionate about being a policy advisor on food system, right? So I think yes, on food system, that is McKinsey a good place for you. I would say direct answer, yes, McKinsey is a good place for you. When I started in my introduction, I said something around building relationships, right? An example of it is um having a mentor, right, in the firm. And in McKinsey, right, you need to be intentional about who your mentors should be. So in this case, you already have a passion for doing this, right? What you just need to do is, for example, you you want to do something like food system, right? In the long run, we have someone in McKinsey called Amandla. Amandla is a partner in McKinsey. She was in Kenya, I think now in London. So Amandla is the leader of the Global Food Security Initiative. So when you get there, you might want to make research to know each of the partners, APs, EMs, and know their focus area. So by the time you are creating your list of who should be your mentor, for example, I am passionate about food security. I want to be a global food security advisor or something like that. I'll be looking at I am someone like Amandla to be my mentor. And how you doing about it? So you need to know how to build strong relationship with Amanda to see you as somebody worth mentoring. So yes, McKinsey is a good place for you if you want to do something like that. It's not only for food. I mean, they are different. For example, you see people like Achaleke that do a lot of fintech. You see people that do a lot of. I mean, you see people like who is this person called? You see people like Frederick that do fintech work. I mean, depending on your passion, you meet people in your field of interest and you consider having those people as your mentor. Is the YLP is the YLP open to only Africans? And is this in just 3 African countries? Yeah, the YLP, I think the YLP is common in Africa, really. I'm not very sure that other countries, other continents do the YLP program. Maybe they do, but they don't call it YLP, right? So maybe they just call their own BAs. In some places, they just do BAs, and BAs you do maybe like 3 years as a BA or 4 years as a BA, right? Or you do maybe like a, how should I call it? Or you do maybe like a, yeah. So I think that, so it's called differently or different name depending on the on the country you're applying from, right? So it depends. So I would say that, and it's not just, I think you're asking if it's just 3 African countries. I'm not sure it's only 3 African countries, but this information, if you check the website, you're going to see the YouTube links. Honestly, yes, please, if you can still stay on the call for like 1 minute, you all the I'm going to get you some YouTube links. So can somebody please help me share? Let me try. Please give me 1 second to bring that out. Um, okay. So sorry, I had it open, but shit, I need to open copy link. Please let me know if you can see the link. It's asking me to connect to YouTube. But please, I'm sending this to Ajibola. Could you please help me send in the chat because I'm not able to share them. So I'll send them. You please help me send in the chat. I sent one to you. Let me send more. Where is the document? 1 second. So in that particular link that I shared, what just happened? Sorry, my gen has gone off. I can let me just off my video. We can share. Yes, please. Yes, please. So, especially if you applied and you put your email address, I'll try to get more materials that can be helpful, and TOC would do well to, like, send to your email. Yes, all right. Then I'll just like to say, before we wrap up, right, guys, I'll just like to say that um even if you did not like get into the YLP program, trust me, not everybody would get in. I'm just saying this last for you to prepare your mind that not getting into the program is not to say that you're not good, right? So I know a couple of people that have very sound academically, they have good problem solving skills, and one way or the other, they don't just get in, right? So don't let you not getting in stop you from pushing hard. Trust me, you're in McKinsey, you're somewhere else, it is still you. So let it be you. Like something I read in a book, like in your career, it should be more about the problem you want to solve wherever you find yourself. And don't let it be just only about working for a particular company. Even if you find yourself currently working for a small company, put in your best and try as much as possible to, to do your best, because trust me, people are watching you, and we never can tell where doors of opportunity will open from. So just try to give in your best wherever you are, and don't stop pushing, keep pushing. And I wish everybody all the best. I am going to try as much as possible to send in the materials, and TOC will send to your email. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, guys. Thank you. We already ran out of time. Ajibola, you can take over from here. Thank you guys for having me. If you have any.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining the session. And that will be all for today. Take care, everyone. Bye.